Tron Ares, the newest entry into the Tron franchise, was met with skepticism from the time it was announced. And now that it's been released, it doesn't seem to have been able to overcome its hurdles and find success. It's a fun action flick, but didn't seem to quite connect with reviewers or many audience members. It's looking like it's going to be over $100 million loss for Disney. But it doesn't actually seem to be the case of the film being just so dreadful that no one likes it. So what actually went wrong here? Let's break down the real reasons why Tron Ares just didn't quite work, and why that doesn't necessarily mean it's a total failure forever. If you've seen the film, let us know what you thought about it in the comments. Tron Ares is the second sequel to the 1982 Tron, which arrived right as the popular interest in video games was beginning to explode. It wasn't a perfect film by any stretch, but its creativity and the interesting modern questions that it posed captured people's imaginations.
Oh man, this isn't happening. It only thinks it's happening.
CGI was new at the time, and Tron's use of it to create the digital world of the grid dazzled viewers, even those who didn't really care for anything else about the film. Following programmer Kevin Flynn's journey, the film explored the idea of what it means to create something that is capable of growing beyond your intentions, and what it really means to be alive.
On the other side of the screen, it all looks so easy.
Kevin is zapped into a digital world where programs have been realized in the image of their creators, including taking on parts of their personalities to a dangerous degree. The film wasn't a mega hit, but it quickly found a cult following.
And I had never seen anything like it before. You know, we talk oftentimes about the fact that movies can take us to places we've never been before. Tron took me to places nobody had ever been before.
Then, in 2010, came the first sequel, Tron Legacy, which follows Kevin's son, Sam, as he works to unravel the mystery of his father's disappearance. While working on his computer system, his program Clue went rogue and took over, trapping him in the digital world.
Look what you've accomplished. It's incredible. Sam, I'd have given it all up for one more day with you.
Kevin has to come to terms with the reality of what he's created, and what it will take to stop it.
Must have been something before Clue screwed it up.
No, he's me. I screwed it up.
Sam, along with the isomorphic algorithm Quora, a new life form that sprung up inside the computer system, works to save the world from Clue's desire to perfect it.
What's next, Sam?
I guess we're supposed to change the world.
The film did okay upon release, but actually developed an audience of fans over time as more people came to appreciate it. Tron Ares, the third installment, had the opportunity to continue this story in an interesting way, especially given how our reality has only become more interconnected with the digital world over time. While it does have its bright spots, the film never quite manages to connect, however. Tron Ares sets us in the same world, but without most of the characters we came to know in the first two films. Though there are connections, tech bro Julian is Ed Dillinger's grandson, Kevin makes a brief appearance, etc. Instead, here we're brought into the world of the tech leaders. Julian, who has created his military AI program named after the god of war.
Is it alive? That depends on your definition, Stuart.
And Eve, the current CEO of Kevin's company, who wishes to thwart Julian's plans. Ares is the new master control program created to protect the grid and destroy anything that doesn't align with his master Julian's wishes. Much to Julian's dismay, however, Ares' superintelligence leads him to developing other human qualities, namely empathy. He begins to turn against Julian as he wrestles with these new emotions and his growing realization of his own impermanence.
He's biblically strong, lightning fast, and supremely intelligent. He is fully proprietary and 100% expendable.
On its face, it sounds like a pretty serviceable follow-up for the series. So, what's the problem?
Some programs will be thinking soon.
Won't that be grand? Computers and the programs will start thinking and the people will stop.
Rather than suffering from one major obvious issue, Tron Ares instead seems to falter due to its many small cracks that together form a larger problem. It has a similar issue to the original Tron film of looking great, but not always hitting a home run with the actual meat of the story it's trying to convey. But Ares suffers even more from this because while the digital world was so dazzling as to be able to overcome the faults of the scripting back in 1982, the same isn't really true now. Our world has essentially been consumed by the digital, and there's nothing particularly new in the CGI here, so the story becomes more of a focus, to the film's detriment. It attempts to counteract this by bringing much of the story into the real world and engaging with the flip side of that original question, now really unpacking what it means for the programs to come into our reality. But the film, for the most part, never seems willing to really dig in deep and explore any of the topics it brings up. Everything feels very surface level. There's also the issue of the choice of who we're on the journey with. Original Tron was grounded in relatability because at its heart was the story of a regular guy who had his passion taken over and used by a greedy corporate shill who wanted to use it for his own ends. Legacy allows us to relate with Sam through his connection to his dad. In Ares, however, both the villain and the good guys are uber-rich techies. While Eve does seem to have her heart in the right place, none of these people are particularly relatable to most of the audience. In fact, techies trying to frame themselves as the good ones just because they're trying to take power, but in a good way, is a major problem in our current moment. Of course, we don't have to share exact life stories with characters to relate to them, but the film never really brings us into their world to really feel like we connect with them in a genuine way. The film often feels disconnected from its own emotions, which makes it hard to connect to as a viewer. What it does attempt to convey tends to feel more paint by numbers than genuine. There is a lot that could be said about the line between programs truly becoming sentient and accessing their emotions, as well as how the programmers that built them contend with that. But Ares never quite does this in a compelling way. Though that doesn't mean it's all bad, it certainly has moments that do work, but they only serve to make us wish that more of the film did. Tron Ares' box office flop isn't just a result of the story itself. In fact, the biggest culprits all come from far outside of the script. Tron Ares suffers from many of the same problems that plague so many modern big-budget films. There's the apparent belief that the studio can just put some big names in a known property and print money, even though that idea has been disproven countless times. The choice of big name here was also an odd choice, as Jared Leto has long been connected to films that do poorly. And even the ones that do well seem to be in spite of him more than anything. He's not even necessarily bad in the role, but he himself is so off-putting that it makes many people not want to give the film a chance in the first place. And the focus on known properties has led to sequel fatigue, where it sometimes feels like a film can't get picked up with a decent budget if it isn't somehow already connected to some other film or IP. Tron Ares itself even brings up this idea in a way when there's a discussion of bringing back dead celebrities for profit. They decide it's better to use the technology to aid humanity instead, which is interesting in this film that solely exists to try to squeeze the last drops of money out of a long-dead franchise that's been brought back to life.
You just keep doing what it looks like you're supposed to be doing, no matter how crazy it seems.
That's the way it is for programs, yes.
I hate to disappoint you, pal, but most of the time that's the way it is for users, too.
Sci-fi is all about being forward-thinking and creative, taking a leap into the unknown to question what our futures could hold. Even with its faults, the original Tron felt cutting edge in this regard. Ares, on the other hand, plays it safe, posing questions everyone's already asked and not providing any new or interesting answers or insight. But just because it's imperfect doesn't mean it won't ever find its place in audiences' hearts. Tron Ares' biggest issue is mainly that it settled for being just okay in an environment where it could have been great if it was willing to take some risks. It's not a terrible film overall. It has a great soundtrack, some good action sequences, and some interesting performances. At the end of the day, it just doesn't ever actually engage with any of the topics it brings up as much as you'd hope it would. It's possible that, like its predecessors, it will find its audience in time. Some people already love it, so that looks likely. Box office numbers alone aren't everything. The film ends with what's clearly a setup for another sequel, but given the fact that this film mostly ignored the film-ending sequel setup from Tron Legacy, who knows if we'll ever see these questions get answered either. Let us know, would you like to see another installment in the Tron franchise? If so, what changes would you like to see? And if not, what's a different sci-fi property that you'd like to see get the big screen treatment instead?
I created the perfect system! The thing about perfection is that it's unknowable. It's impossible, but it's also right in front of us all the time.
That's The Take. Click here to watch the video we think you'll love, or here to check out a whole playlist of awesome content. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications.